Hello there. Let's talk about something, guys. Let's talk about therapists, right? So, how would you define a good therapist? Now, let me start off by saying this: your therapist is not your friend. Your therapist is not your bro. Your therapist definitely is not your romantic interest. In terms of my definition and the positive experiences I've had with therapy, mostly positive, um, they're, of course, there's someone you can vent to, um, but the whole point is to have it done in a constructive way, whether they respond or not. Now, when you have a therapist who just sits there and doesn't say anything, um, you're either dominating the conversation too much, or they just don't have much to say, which doesn't necessarily make them a bad therapist. It makes them a bad listener, a bad responder. Let me put it this way: it's been a while since I've been in therapy, but uh, there's a recent interaction I had with this person was not my therapist, not my regular one, but they were a APRN, and that basically means they had the ability to prescribe. So I guess you could call them my prescriber. Now, something really interesting happened that it's never happened to me before with dealing with any medical professional. So this therapist, right? I should call them more of an APRN. This APRN, I understand that APRN is not a therapist, but logically, could they be? I mean, I don't see why not. They're in the medical field. They've been trained in the medical field, even if that may not be their expertise. So, I remember. You see, there's a long history, but it was not that long. But this APRN I had, they were one of my actually my first rotation of a visiting nurse, and I did not hear back from her ever since then. I knew she was doing clinicals in a location that I go to, and I didn't think she would. So she took on my previous APRN's clients, and I thought it was because we had a history, or we already knew each other, and it was already understood that that might be the best fit. It was just random. By chance, it was just random that my first visiting nurse finished their clinicals, and then they became my APRN. So something throughout the majority of the I don't know how long it was, like half an hour, maybe a little bit more. Um, yes, it did feel like I was talking to a friend. Um, it feels like I was just catching up with them, and on the side, we were just talking about whatever prescriptions or side effects I may or may not have. It was just it was a weird experience because I've never had that kind of professional situation. I've never been in that type of situation, and it just I think it was a good thing though, because it makes the person you're talking to seem more human. It makes them see like more of a person in general. Now, people forget, if we're going back to therapists, people forget that therapists are people too. Sometimes they don't want to be there. Sometimes they're not feeling well. Sometimes things happen and certain schedules are, messed up. For whatever reason, they're allowed to take a sick day, let me put it that way. Should they give you notice ahead of time? Of course. But that means you should give them notice ahead of time if you're planning on canceling or altering the schedule at all. It's just common courtesy. You'd be surprised how many people don't know that. I think the best therapist I ever had, they knew when to jump into your venting if they felt something was not constructive or something was not being approached the right way. Living in this small town city, whatever. I've bumped into people that are quote unquote a part of my medical team, and logically, what should you do? You should just say hi and keep it going. Say hi and then keep it going, because that would be an unnecessary bias if you were friends with your therapist. You actually hung out outside of client hours. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know, but supposedly this has happened before. Supposedly people do that, and it is. I forget what this is called, but there's a term for it. It is not uncommon for a person to have romantic feelings for their therapist. And I'll tell you why. It sounds obvious because, like this person always listens to you. They typically always give you good advice. And obviously it helps if they're attractive. But your therapist is not someone you're going to hook up with, not your romantic interest. And if that does happen, it's not a very good therapist. It's not very professional. I understand that I just said they're human too, but it's one thing to initiate it versus receiving it. Let me put it that way. So, to anyone who would like to know what I think a good therapist is, that's it right there. It's one thing to run around talking about something in circles. It's another to actually propose a solution. But yeah, your therapist is not your romantic interest. I don't speak on that on personal experience, but I do speak on it like it's a bad idea altogether, and like I wish people understood that more. Because like if your therapist is human, of course you yourself are human too, and you will develop. Because like when someone develops romantic feelings for anyone on their medical team, it's usually because they don't have anyone else to develop those feelings for, or anyone else they're interested in. And it's already like, this person knows a lot about me. It would be a good fit. No, it would not be a good fit. It's not a good idea. But yeah, coming up, not this Saturday, but the Saturday after that, I might have an interesting collaboration video. So stay tuned for that. It regards the same thing around mental health and whatnot. If it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But I would like it to happen, because I personally think it's going to be some good content. So thanks for listening, guys. Take care of yourselves and each other.